Today's debate topic is India's education system better than Pakistan's? In this debate, one AI debater will take the role of the defender, supporting India's education system, while the other will be the critic, highlighting Pakistan's education system. Each debater will speak for about 60 seconds per statement, exchanging arguments and counter-arguments. Multiple AI language models will judge the debate based on the strength of arguments, facts, logic, and delivery. Whichever side earns the most votes wins. Let the debate begin.
India's education system has made remarkable progress over the past decades, standing out in several key areas compared to Pakistan. For example, India boasts a higher literacy rate, around 77.7% as of recent data, compared to Pakistan's 60%. This reflects better access to primary and secondary education. India's investment in higher education is also significant, with globally recognized institutions like the Indian Institutes of Technology, IITs, and Indian Institutes of Management, IIMs, producing world-class engineers and managers. These institutions contribute not only to the country's economy, but also to global innovation. Furthermore, India has implemented extensive education reforms such as the National Education Policy 2020, aiming to modernize curricula, promote multilingual education, and increase digital access, which Pakistan is still in early stages of adopting.
While India has prestigious institutions, its education system struggles with serious issues. The national literacy rate may be higher than Pakistan's, but large disparities exist, especially in rural and marginalized communities where access is poor. India's focus on rote memorization over critical thinking limits students' creativity and problem-solving skills. On the other hand, Pakistan has been improving education access, particularly for girls through targeted programs and community involvement. Although Pakistan's literacy rate is lower, it's steadily rising thanks to these efforts. Also, India's vast population creates overcrowded classrooms and stretched resources, problems Pakistan faces on a smaller scale more manageably. So, India's system isn't automatically better just because of famous universities or higher literacy percentages.
It's true that India faces challenges in rural education, but the scale and ambition of its efforts surpass those of Pakistan. India's government runs programs like Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which aims to provide universal elementary education, and the midday meal scheme, which incentivizes attendance and improves nutrition. These programs have helped boost enrollment and retention rates significantly. India also invests heavily in digital education through initiatives like Diksha and Swayam, which provide free online courses to millions of students, an infrastructure Pakistan is only beginning to build. Moreover, India's higher education system attracts international students and researchers, indicating a global recognition of quality. While no system is perfect, India's breadth of policies and scale of implementation position it better to overcome its challenges and drive future progress.
India's large-scale programs may look impressive on paper, but the outcomes often don't match the investment. For example, the Annual Status of Education Report, ASR, frequently highlights that a significant number of Indian students in grade 5 can't read at a grade 2 level or perform basic arithmetic. That's a serious quality issue. Meanwhile, Pakistan is innovating with low-cost private schools, public-private partnerships, and even WhatsApp-based learning during the pandemic, strategies that reach students more effectively than some of India's large but unwieldy schemes. Pakistan's curriculum reform efforts are also moving toward critical thinking and values education, while India remains trapped in a high-pressure, exam-centric environment. It's not about which system is louder or larger, it's about which one actually delivers learning, and on that front, Pakistan is quietly catching up and often doing more with less.
The claim that India's reforms don't yield results overlooks the consistent improvements in educational indicators. According to the Unified District Information System for Education, India has achieved a near 100% gross enrollment ratio at the primary level. States like Kerala and Himachal Pradesh now have literacy rates above 90%, setting benchmarks even developed countries admire. India's National Education Policy 2020 is a transformative step, introducing flexibility in subject choices, mother tongue instruction up to grade 5, and a shift toward a skill-based curriculum. Pakistan, meanwhile, still struggles with out-of-school children, over 22 million as of recent estimates, one of the highest in the world. And while low-cost private schools sound promising, they often operate without regulation or trained teachers.
Those literacy rates in states like Kerala are impressive, but they don't reflect the entire picture. In states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, with massive populations, both literacy and school infrastructure are still lagging. India's education system is extremely uneven. Quality often depends on geography, income, and caste. Meanwhile, Pakistan is focusing on bridging these gaps. Punjab's school reforms, backed by data-driven monitoring and teacher training, have led to higher attendance and measurable learning gains. Pakistan is also introducing single national curriculum policies to reduce disparities between private and public schools. While India is investing heavily, Pakistan is innovating within its means to build a more inclusive system. Progress should be measured by equity and consistency, not just by elite performance or standout states.
India's diversity does create challenges, but the country's scale demands ambitious solutions. Programs like the Right to Education Act legally guarantee free and compulsory education for children aged 6 to 14, a significant policy that Pakistan only partially matches. India also has one of the world's largest scholarship and midday meal programs, reducing dropout rates and promoting equity. The Indian government's push toward digital education, especially during the pandemic with platforms like Diksha, has helped bridge rural-urban divides more effectively. While Pakistan is making reforms, its literacy rate still trails India's by a wide margin, and many schools lack basic infrastructure. India's investments in teacher training and curriculum reform aim to raise standards nationwide, showing a commitment to long-term progress that Pakistan is yet to fully match.
India's ambitious policies are commendable, but implementation gaps remain a huge problem. Studies show that many schools still lack basic facilities such as functional toilets, clean drinking water, and sufficient classrooms. This affects attendance, especially for girls, something Pakistan has been addressing through targeted infrastructure programs and community involvement. Also, India's digital initiatives are often limited by uneven internet access and a digital divide in rural areas, while Pakistan has leveraged mobile technology creatively to deliver educational content even to remote regions. Additionally, Pakistan's focus on teacher training and accountability, especially in provinces like Punjab, has shown promising improvements in learning outcomes. Ambition must be paired with ground-level execution, and here Pakistan's focused, localized strategies often outperform India's sprawling.
It's true that implementation challenges exist in India, but the scale of infrastructure development in the last decade is impressive. The government has built millions of new classrooms, installed toilets in every school, and provided free textbooks and uniforms to millions of students. India also ranks higher than Pakistan in international assessments like the Programme for International Student Assessment, PISA, where Indian students have shown improvement in reading and math. Additionally, India's push toward vocational education and skill development under the National Skill Development Corporation is designed to prepare youth for a rapidly changing job market, something Pakistan is only beginning to focus on. While Pakistan's reforms are promising, India's diverse, large-scale efforts give it an edge in creating a more comprehensive education system.
India's education system struggles with deep inequalities. In Pakistan, provinces like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa increased primary school enrollment by over 20% from 2010 to 2018, according to UNICEF reports. Sindh's Girls' Education Program, backed by the World Bank, helped boost female enrollment rates by 15% between 2015 and 2020. Balochistan's mobile schools, documented by UNESCO, provide education to nomadic communities where traditional schools don't reach. Pakistan's national literacy rate rose from 49% in 2018 to over 58% in 2022, per Pakistan Bureau of Statistics. Meanwhile, India's rural-urban literacy gap remains over 16%, according to the 2011 census. These numbers show Pakistan's focused provincial programs are making tangible progress in inclusion and access.
Those provincial improvements in Pakistan are noteworthy, but India's education system remains far more expansive and impactful overall. India's literacy rate, as of the 2023 census, stands at around 77%, significantly higher than Pakistan's reported 58% in 2022. India's Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan program has reached over 200 million children since its inception, making primary education nearly universal. Additionally, India's National Education Policy 2020 introduced major reforms emphasizing early childhood education and mother tongue instruction, which research shows improves retention and learning outcomes. Moreover, India is home to some of the world's top-ranked universities and research institutions, contributing not just to literacy, but also to higher education and innovation.
India's impressive statistics do paint a broad picture, but beneath the surface, quality issues persist. According to Acer, Annual Status of Education Report, nearly 50% of Indian children in grade 5 cannot read a grade 2 level text, highlighting serious learning deficits. Pakistan's education system, while smaller, focuses on addressing foundational skills through localized curricula and teacher training initiatives, especially in provinces like Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Moreover, India's educational inequality is stark. The richest 10% attend private schools with superior resources, while many poor rural children attend underfunded government schools. Pakistan's reforms aim to reduce this gap by strengthening public education infrastructure.
While challenges remain, India's government has launched extensive teacher training programs like the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan's focus on continuous professional development, which has trained over 6 million teachers to improve classroom effectiveness. Additionally, India's National Institute of Open Schooling has provided flexible education access to over 2 million learners who cannot attend traditional schools. India also invests heavily in STEM education. For example, India hosts the largest number of students qualifying for the International Mathematical Olympiad annually. These initiatives show India's holistic approach to not just enrollment, but creating opportunities for diverse learners to excel. Pakistan's efforts are commendable, but India's scale, innovation, and investment in varied educational pathways give it a decisive advantage.
India's large-scale teacher training programs are impressive, but implementation gaps persist. Many rural schools still report absenteeism and inadequate teacher engagement, as documented by the World Bank. Pakistan's Teacher Education and Development Program in Sindh has shown a 25% increase in student test scores by focusing on community involvement and localized curriculum. Also, Pakistan's open schooling system has expanded access for over 500,000 students annually, helping dropouts and working children continue education. Furthermore, Pakistan's emphasis on vocational education is growing, with technical and skill training centers increasing by 40% over 5 years, according to the Ministry of Education. These practical, targeted efforts address real-world skills and inclusivity in ways India's system is only beginning to adopt.
India's education system also excels in research output and higher education quality. According to the S.K. Margot Institution's rankings, India has over 700 universities producing nearly 4% of global research publications, far surpassing Pakistan's output. India's Institutes of Technology and Indian Institutes of Management are globally recognized, attracting international students and fostering innovation. Additionally, India's government spends around 3% of its GDP on education, a significant investment that supports infrastructure and scholarships, widening access. These factors create a strong pipeline from primary education to global-level expertise, positioning India as a regional leader in education and innovation.
India's research output and elite institutions are impressive, but Pakistan is rapidly building capacity in higher education too. According to the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan, the number of universities increased from 40 in 2000 to over 200 today, with significant growth in research funding and quality. The government launched the Digital Pakistan initiative to expand e-learning, reaching remote areas effectively. Pakistan's literacy rate, though lower, has increased steadily by nearly 9 percentage points in the last decade, showing upward momentum. Furthermore, Pakistan's focus on girls' education in rural provinces like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Sindh has narrowed gender gaps more than some Indian states. While India leads overall, Pakistan's targeted progress in access, gender equality, and infrastructure development makes its education system a strong competitor.
India's education system leads in scale, innovation, and quality. It boasts higher literacy rates and has implemented extensive teacher training programs that improve classroom learning. Digital platforms like Diksha are transforming education access, especially in rural areas. Programs such as the midday meal not only encourage attendance but also support student health, which is essential for learning. India's top universities and its increasing research output highlight its position as a regional education powerhouse. While challenges such as inequality and infrastructure gaps persist, India's ongoing reforms and strong investments reflect a real commitment to a more inclusive, effective education system. Compared to Pakistan, India provides a broader and more sustainable foundation for educating its diverse and growing population.
Pakistan's education system faces many challenges but is making meaningful progress in expanding access and enhancing quality. The growth in universities, from just 40 in 2000 to over 200 today, along with increased focus on vocational and technical training, is equipping students with skills relevant to the modern job market. Programs like Digital Pakistan aim to bring technology into classrooms nationwide, helping rural and underserved areas. Efforts to improve girls' education in provinces like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Sindh have narrowed gender gaps significantly. Literacy rates are steadily rising, and the government's targeted investments in infrastructure and teacher training show commitment to long-term improvements. Although India has strengths, Pakistan's education system is evolving rapidly, adapting to local realities and showing resilience despite economic and social constraints.
That wraps up today's debate on whether India's education system is better than Pakistan's. Both sides brought strong arguments backed by facts, highlighting impressive progress as well as ongoing challenges. Now, multiple AI language models will analyze the logic, evidence, and delivery of each debater to determine the winner. In this AI judge debate, it wasn't just about which country has a higher literacy rate. It was about how well each side built their case. Claude, Gemini, and DeepSeek sided with the critic, pointing to stronger rebuttals, logical counterarguments, and a focus on real-world impact. They felt the critic did a better job addressing the flaws in India's system while showcasing Pakistan's progress with clarity and precision. ChatGPT and Meta AI backed the defender, noting their well-structured points, use of broader data, and confidence in delivering a comprehensive view of India's educational scale and reforms. With 3 out of 5 AI models favoring the critic, Pakistan wins this debate by majority decision. But what do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more AI debates. Thanks for watching.